All right, welcome to the NELLY podcast. Today we got a returning special guest, Mr. Wagner, for the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about that as it happened yesterday. All right, here we go.
All right, so I think we have to start off with just some basic questions. I mean, who were you going for yesterday?
Philly. Yeah, not totally like an anti-Chiefs fan or anything like that. Personally, I'm just I'm a Falcons fan, so I don't really have anything to say about either team. I'm a really big Jalen Hurts fan. Have been just since, his time at Alabama, and not just because it's Alabama and what they did, but how he handled the way he handled and the kind of the situation that he went through there and how well he handled it. So I've always been a big fan of him. I don't think as many people thought as highly of him as an NFL quarterback, and he's proven everyone wrong with that. And so that would be my reason I wanted the Eagles.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I feel like he really has been like a standout for them this year too. He had, I think, two or three rushing touchdowns on his own, and they said that was a record for just a quarterback, and he's a young one coming in here, his second or third year.
You know who he tied?
Who did he tie?
You're a Broncos fan. You don't know this?
Elway?
Rushing touchdowns?
Well, it's definitely not Manning.
No. Terrell Davis?
Oh, well, yeah, but for quarterbacks.
No, it was like the all-time,
all time,
just Super Bowl rushing touchdowns in a game.
Oh,
three of them, right?
He tied.
Did he have three rushing touchdowns, right? Yeah. I haven't gone back and looked at the stats, but I think he had three, and I'm pretty sure that was your guy's record.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Hey,
98 maybe? I don't know.
Well, at least the Broncos have got some records under our belt here.
There you go.
Yeah, but I think that goes for everyone kind of here going for Philly. Obviously, I hate the Chiefs as they're in our division and they beat us every time by a unmeasurable amount. So I was really going for him, and the call. This is a really big one. The call at the end, the holding call. What do you think on that?
Two sides of it. As a fan, disappointed. No one wants to see a game come down to that. Even the Chiefs win, and I'm sure they're ecstatic about winning the game, but there's that anytime you win a game on something like that where you didn't just go out and actually just beat somebody and it came down to a ref's call, there's kind of that sting to it, and it kind of takes away some of the luster of going in and winning a big game like that. So like I said, as a fan, you hate to see that, to where I'm sure everyone felt it. Kansas City's just going to run the clock down anyways and kick a field goal, and here's the chance where they can get a stop, hold the field goal, and Philly could get the ball back, and for that call to be the one, I hate to see that as a fan. There might have been something there, but I think it could have been a good no call. The coaching side of me, it is what it is, and you got to learn to just accept it for what it is. I think two people. What's his name? Bradbury, was he the one that
I think so?
The penalty was called on him in the locker room, answering questions and owning up to it and saying he held. And then, I can't remember the Kelsey brother on the.
Oh, Jason.
Jason. Yeah. He had a big thing, kind of talking in an interview afterwards, and just same thing, owned up to it, not going to complain about it. It is what it is, and just control the only thing they can control is their reaction to it. And, they could go on and complain and do things like that, but no one wants to hear that. So that's pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect mentality to go out of it. Obviously it's the biggest game, you lose, but you really just got to take away the ups and downs, and really just, you can't focus on all the downs. There were great plays, obviously, from the Eagles, and that holding call, it really is a bummer to see. But I think that they just need to take it with a grain of salt and move on to next year, and just keep their heads held high, because they were a great team. But yeah, it really did, I think, make a lot of people sad, though. It was just like a heartbreaker, because they were fourth down and it was just that close to be in the Eagles game, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's really tough, and like you said, it's good that they came in the locker room, take ownership, and really just took with their heads held high. So
Yeah, I mean, you just you give credit to Kansas City too. They're just always a team. There's teams that just people can say they're lucky and whatever, things keep happening, but also they're opportunists, and when you give them opportunities to do things and take over in games, they do it. You know, they don't leave it up to the other team to take over. They kind of do it themselves. It's kind of
I will say though, this year the Broncos, we were pretty close on them. I mean, they kind of let us come back on them. That was as the bottom of their year, I'll say. Old Russ Bus coming in steaming hot.
I don't know about that. I don't think that the Broncos right now in their condition are gonna actually beat the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes on their team.
You know, if they're doing high knees on the plane like Russ is telling them to do, then I think that we'll be in peak condition for next year to win our division. Definitely not the Super Bowl, but our division.
Yeah,
maybe third place, not fourth.
Sean Payton gonna take you to the promised land.
Yeah, he will with all our money in the bin. Well, he'll have to. I mean,
he's definitely taking more of that money.
Yeah, we're taking out a loan, a big one.
Did he sign already?
I think he did. Yeah, so we're all set.
Is he the highest paid coach?
Yeah, and then we had to trade a first round pick to the Saints too. Another one.
Another pick.
Another pick. Yeah. We're going into like 2030 here, so it's a.
Better be crossing your fingers, because if this doesn't work out,
yeah, we're down in the deep right now. But at least we're still better than the Atlanta Falcons. That's all.
Yeah,
I mean, probably. At least you guys didn't go 3 games. Was it prediction this year?
I think 3.5 was the Vegas odds, so they doubled that.
You guys got like 7. I was gonna say you guys actually did a lot.
Oh, it completely exceeded expectations. There wasn't many even coming into the season, so to get that and a lot of the losses, I mean, they were right in. They had a lot of single-digit losses, 1-possession games. So I was pleased with that for a season like that. And yeah, who knows? We'll see what our quarterback situation turns into. Yeah, I really don't pay that much attention off season.
You're just
I'm busy with stuff right now. I just kind of show up next season like, all right, who do we got?
Do I draft them for fantasy or not? It's pretty much the big question.
Yeah, I do fantasy draft. That's about it.
Yeah. All right, we're getting a little off topic here from the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, okay, after that first half, did you ever think the Chiefs were actually going to come back though from that? I mean, it was kind of a 10-point lead. You know, I feel like had a little mental there. Patrick Mahomes coming out with an injury.
Yeah, 10-point lead. It could have been worse. I mean, with the fumble recovery for the touchdown, I mean, that could have been a 17-point. You know, even more if Eagles go on to do something with that. So, I think seeing Mahomes limping off the field, because that was that last possession right before half where they tackled him and kind of pulled him down by the ankle. He looked in pain.
Yeah.
But
he walked back to the locker room looking pretty good, though, I must say.
Yeah, whatever that is. I'm sure there's a lot of adrenaline and things, and maybe he's just trying to, he knows every camera's on him. So if he shows weakness, the other team's going to see that. So maybe that was just kind of a signal to his own teammates, like that he could do it and he would be there for him in the second half. But Super Bowl's a great situation for that because they got a lot of time to go in the locker room and trainers to work whatever magic they could on him, because he came out looking really good.
Yeah,
he broke off a couple nice runs that I wouldn't think he could do on that ankle.
They were saying that every drive they scored in that. I mean, maybe they didn't like fourth quarter, but every drive they had, they were scoring pretty much, which is just crazy to think about. Like I think the Eagles D just started to fall apart. Like they looked pretty good in the first, but like really it just came down to like the Chiefs were running just play that just keep working and working, and the run game really hit them hard. I feel. Yeah. Now that they've lost Tyreek and then they only have Travis, Juju, but the run game really kind of hit hard in the fourth quarter. Yeah. It was I don't know. It was a rough spot, especially for the Eagles, because I know that I was really looking forward just to them winning, because my brother, he was working with one of their players, which is really cool. But
Epps,
yeah, he did pretty good. I mean, he's a guy I was watching. Obviously, he had a couple tackles, but he did give up a touchdown, which was rough to see. But that's everybody, really.
Yeah.
So,
Is that Kelsey's touchdown?
Yeah, it was. It was
Yeah.
Kelsey's.
Yeah, he makes a lot of people look bad.
Yeah, he does.
They were saying it wasn't actually his man though.
Well, yeah, what
Did
they
you hear
did,
that?
it was
They
weird.
kind of like swapped it up,
Him
so
and
then
Darius
they
Slay.
purposely tricked him, I guess, into that,
Yeah.
and it worked.
Yeah.
He did slip a little bit though. You can see on that run.
He went to jam, and then he kind of slipped back, and Kelsey just breaks free.
Well, that was a big story I saw this morning, was just how much I'm sure they were talking about it. I couldn't hear the broadcast of the game as much. We had kids running around, so it was kind of noisy, so I could just see the plays. But just hearing them talk about how slick the field was and how kind of poorly managed that whole situation.
Didn't they say it was like a new type of turf or something?
Yeah,
that they
they were
got on the
saying-
field, and
and-
everyone was slipping everywhere. I mean, I think one of the players had like a touchdown. He like slipped and like fell, and then he had to like get up. But I mean,
Yeah. Well,
the field did not look
they're
good.
saying the paint really, because they paint it obviously for those. They said those parts are particularly slick because it's not fully dried because they're just. But they're saying that, and then I was watching actually because Travis Kelce and his brother have a podcast, and they obviously know all about this. But they're saying turf fields are probably their least favorite fields to play on because they're like so stiff.
Mhm.
In grass fields, you just get like so much better mobility and everything.
Yeah.
And the most injuries happen on turf, so I think that was a key to what happened to those guys to hurt
Yeah,
themselves too.
See how strong those guys are, how quick they can change directions, and yeah, those turf fields, it puts a lot of stress on those ligaments. So having that extra give of grass, I've heard that same thing with NFL players. They prefer that feel. But yeah, it looked like every player had to change to the bigger spikes for later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Saw
This
Hurts
is-
had his Jordan
Yeah.
11s or whatever.
Yeah, those are
I
pretty
don't know the
cool.
numbers, but
I've
I
looked-
definitely know that style of Jordans were sweet, and then he
Mhm.
changed out of them. You could tell.
Yeah, but it was crazy. There's this picture, and there's just a pile of cleats. Players were changing in and out, not all in the Eagles, just a huge pile. Because I guess they're just getting worn or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how much that small thing can impact just everything so much on each team, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's
I think
coming
that's
up to the
it.
end
Yeah.
of the NELLY podcast. Thank you so much.
That's all you got?